I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my series on construction of angles with compass. We'll actually see how to construct all the angles mentioned here with the help of compass. We are going to use protractor only to check our result. So we'll begin with construction of angles like 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees and 120 degrees. All these will be constructed using a straight line which makes 180 degrees and by bisecting them. So we'll learn how to copy and bisect angles, and we are going to apply this principle to further make angles of 105 degrees and 75 degrees. Once we understand all these concepts, we'll be in a position to draw triangles over different dimensions given. For example, we'll take two examples here. One, length AB equals to 4 centimeters and the angles on the base as 60 and 90 degrees. The other one, we'll draw a triangle with 4 centimeter base with obtuse angle of 120 degrees. Now let us see how to do all this with compass and a ruler. I hope you find this series interesting and useful. So let's see how to construct angles of 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees and 120 degrees now. We'll see how to construct angles of 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees and 120 degrees with the help of a compass, not protractor, right? We'll use the protractor only to measure. We'll use compass to construct the angles. Perfect. Let us see how we can construct all these angles very accurately with the help of a compass, not protractor, right? Well, we might use the protractor for drawing the lines. For example, let me just now sketch a line here, a long line, horizontal. Well, a horizontal line gives you 180 degrees, correct? So if I have a point here, let's call this point as point O, then the angle which it makes on the top half is 180 degrees. Now if I have to construct 90 degrees, what should I do? For 90 degrees, I have to make half of it. That means I have to bisect 180 degrees, right? Now let us see how to bisect an angle, and then we'll continue from there. So we'll just open up an arc from the compass and we can kind of draw a semicircle as you can see here, right? So with this arc we are drawing a semicircle. It cuts a line at 2 points. Now at those 2 points we'll place our compass and then increase the size slightly more so that we could make two different arcs from each point intersecting our original line, right? So the arc and this point will now construct. So with this arc we get a point right on top of O, and joining this line we get right angles to the horizontal line drawn earlier. Perfect. So if I join this, what should I get? I get half of 180 degrees. So this angle which I have drawn just now is exactly 90 degrees. Do you see that? And if you want, we can measure with our protractor, right? So that's the protractor. If you place it, it matches perfectly 90 degrees. So what we did in step 1 is we bisect 180 degrees to get 90 degrees. Now from 90 degrees I can again bisect and get 45 degrees. How do I do that? Well, I've already done half of the work, and that is, you can see from this point I have an arc, and this arc cuts the horizontal line and our vertical line at two different points. Now just as we bisected the earlier angle, we can bisect this angle also. We'll place our compass on the line on the intersection of this arc and our horizontal line, correct? And then make an arc almost in the center of quadrant 1, right? Like this. With the same arc, we'll place it on the intersection with the vertical line and then make another arc. So there it bisects. So the point where it bisects will now be connected with the point O. Now if I do that, and I'm using only my protractor to check the results and to draw lines, right? That's interesting, not to make angles, right? So when we do this, we get 45 degrees. So this angle which I am now getting is 45 degrees. Well, let's check, right? So if I place it here with 0 coinciding with O, you will notice that the line which I've drawn is almost 45 degrees. It's slightly this minor difference, right? But it has to be exact, right? Okay, so that's how we get 45 degrees. Now, let's talk about 30 and 60 degrees. Okay, so for 30 and 60 degrees, let me start the construction with an arc, like a new construction, okay? So this time what I'll do, again, I will draw an arc just as we started with for the 90 degrees, right? So let me form an arc just as we did earlier. So we got this one. But without changing the length of the arc, I'm going to cut this into 3 parts. See, one part, right? So second part and third part. So you will notice that exactly 180 has been divided into 3 equal parts. Do you see that? And what do you get? So if I divide 180 degrees into 3 equal parts, I should get 60 degrees each, correct? So if I join them, then I have 60 degrees. Let me join and check. So if I'm joining with O, the first point, which is same distance away, 3 divisions of the arc which we just drawn, which we think are 60 degrees, we should draw the line and then check, right? So this. So what we notice here is this particular angle should be actually 60 degrees. So this angle here is 60 degrees. The angle, let me say like this. Correct? 60, that is also 60. So if I join this point, then what do I get? I get 120 degrees, right? So let me use another ink to join the second point, which is 2 times 60. So this big angle from here to there will be 120 degrees. 2 60s, right? And the third 60 will give us 180 degrees. Does it make sense to you? Perfect, right? That is how we get 60 degrees. Now, can you tell me, how can I make 30 degrees? Well, you got it. Bisecting 60 degrees, we get 30 degrees, just as we got 45. So what we learned here is bisect 180 degrees to get 90 degrees, and then we'll bisect 90 degrees to get 45 degrees, and trisect to get 60. Now we can write bisect 60 degrees to get 30 degrees, right? So let's see how to bisect 60 degrees and get 30 degrees. Okay, so we'll start with the 60 degrees angle arc, which is right there. We have 2 points here, right? So we'll place our compass at one of these points and then mark, right? So somewhere in between, let's say this, right? And then we'll place it on the other point and then again cut it across. We get a point in between the two, right? So joining that, what should we get? With O, we should get 30 degrees, half of 60. Do you see that part? Right? So now we can join these 2 points, and when you join them, we get 30 degrees. So this angle here is 30 degrees. So we can keep on bisecting and get, if you bisect 30, you get 15. And the way how to bisect is, cut an arc and then place your compass at both the points with the same arc and get the point, which is the bisector of the angle. So I hope that makes sense. Perfect. So that is how you get most of the angles using just a compass and a ruler. Now here is a question for you. Your question here is to construct what is missing. 75 degrees is missing, right? So you need to make an angle of 75 degrees. That is your work, right? How will you do it? Well, 45 plus 30 is 75, correct? So you've seen how we got 30. So you got to make 30 over 45 to get 75, the combination of 2. That should give you the 75 degrees angle. So we learned in this particular video how to bisect an angle and how to construct different angles by the combination of bisecting each. How to copy and bisect angles. That is one thing we'll learn. Second is apply the method to construct an angle of 105 degrees. Okay, so let's think about it. Let me straight away draw a straight line using the protractor. So we are not using it in the traditional way now. So we are just using it to verify the results and draw some straight lines. Now we need to create an angle of 105 degrees. Let's think how we could do it. 105 degrees, we could make a combination of 45 degrees and 60 degrees. So if I add these two, what do I get? I get 105 degrees, correct? So that means I have to create 45 degrees angle and then on top of it 60 degrees angle to make 105 degrees, and that too we have to do with compass, right? So that is what we'll try to do. Okay, so let's begin by first making 45 degrees. Now 45 degrees is half of 90. So our thinking is kind of like this. We say 90 degrees. Well, we'll start with 180 degrees, which is the straight line, right? So when you divide this by 2, you get 90 degrees, and when you divide that by 2, you get 45 degrees, correct? So by dividing by 2 really means bisect an angle, great. So with this example, we'll actually bisect the angle twice to get 45 degrees, and in the process you will also learn how to bisect an angle, right? So let's see. Step number 1 is mark a point, and let's make this point and call this as let's say O, right? So let's call this as O. Okay, and now we'll just make a semicircle kind of a thing. We are only interested in the points which cut this line, but I'm trying to make a circle, semicircle. We'll use it later, but we are mainly interested in only finding these 2 points which intersect the whole line. So once you cut the straight line at 2 equal distance away from O, then you enlarge the length of your compass and then mark points somewhere, right, in the center, right, from both these points. Once you do that, you have actually made 90 degrees by actually bisecting 180 degrees. Perfect. So I'm going to join this. Once I join it, you will find that this is exactly 90 degrees. You can verify. So this protractor will only be used to verify our result. As you can see perfectly, it is 90 degrees. So we did the very first step, and that is we bisected 180 degrees to get 90 degrees. Now we actually want 45 degrees. Okay, so we'll go one more step, bisecting what we have got. So how do I bisect? I have to make an arc and which cuts at 2 points on the angle. So this angle of 90 degrees is to be bisected to get 45 degrees. So now these are the 2 points of my interest. So from there I'll again make an arc and see. Okay, so let's reduce this a bit, right? We have to manage our space. Okay, so this is 1, and from the other point place it, cut the arc, right? So you get the point. So how much that should be? That should be 45 degrees, correct? So let me join this with point O. So once I do that, I get an angle of, well, this is not a perfect line. I kind of missed it, but anyway, we'll treat that as 45 degrees. Okay, so there is some error. You have to be more careful. Now let's check how much error did I create in joining it. Not really much, slightly, which is very minor, but you can see it is 45 degrees. Perfect. We got 45. How do I get 60 now? Well, 60 degrees is what? Let's try to understand what is 60 degrees. From the straight line, which is 180 degrees, if I divide by 3, right, trisect, then I get 60 degrees, right? So let us see how to divide that angle into 3. Well, I'll use a different color this time. So let's make a bigger arc than what we had earlier. Okay, let this be the arc. Okay, so we'll again place it here. Okay, so now we just open the compass and again make a semicircle, right? We're trying to make 60 degrees and we'll try to divide this semicircle into 3 equal parts. So without changing, see, without changing the arc length, we will cut it into 3 equal parts. Do you see that? You see that? It is exactly 3 equal parts. Perfect. So what we get here is 60 degrees, right? So each individual is a 60-degree angle. Perfect. So let's see. What I'm trying to say here is that this much is 60 degrees. From here to here, if I draw this, now I'm not spoiling my right hand side, but I'm just telling you that this portion here from this side is 60 degrees. That is also 60 and this is also 60. So we created 3 angles of 60 degrees. Now the major question for us is, how do I add 45 with 60 degrees to get 105 degrees? Perfect. That is the thing. You can see from here to there, it is 60 degrees on this arc. But I want to add on this length, right? This angle. Perfect. So let's call this as, let's say we take a point here as P and this point is Q. Now I want somewhere here a point R so that I get 45 plus 60 and that is 105, of course, closer to this side, right? How do I get that? So basically, I know this arc length from here to here gives me 60 degrees. So I could actually copy this arc length after that point of 45 degrees. If I do that, then I make 60 over 45 line. Do you get the concept? So with the same length, which is defining 60 degrees, that is, you can see from here to here it is 60, right? Or this place. I'm using the same arc length, but I'm putting it on my terminal arm for 45 degrees. And once I cut this on this line, do you see that part? Then I've ensured that I have 60 more, right? So this from here to here gives me plus 60 degrees. So if I join the point which I have just made or cut the cross, so that is how I copied my angle of 60 degrees. Did you see that? So there you go. So we have this point and a point here. Let me call this as R now. So you will notice that what we have now is a total angle. Now we know the angle POQ was 45 degrees, and on that we added angle QOR, which is 60 degrees, and therefore what we get is angle POR, which is 105 degrees. Do you see that? So this angle here from this side, all this is what? Is 105 degrees. Do you understand how? So in this example, you also understood how we copied that angle of 60 degrees over 45 to create 105 degrees angle. So you learn how to create angles with compass. You also learn how to copy them and how to bisect them. I hope that helps. Feel free to write your comments and share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'll be great. As an exercise, you can create an angle of 75 degrees. Think about it. So the question for you is make 75 degrees, right? 75 degrees could be written as 45 degrees plus 30 degrees. Okay, so let this be your exercise. Thank you. Now we need to construct an angle of 75 degrees with compass. In this series, we are using our protractor only to verify our results and not to create angles. All the angles will be made with this compass. Perfect. Now the question here is, how do we construct 45 degrees angle with compass? Well, we learned two techniques. One, to copy angles, and the other, which we learned, was to bisect angles. We are going to use both these techniques to get 75. Well, 75 is a combination of 45 degrees and what? Well, and 30 degrees. So that combination gives you 75 degrees. So we have to create angle of 45 degrees. On top of that, we are going to add or copy 30 degrees to get 75 degrees. Perfect. So I think the strategy is absolutely clear. So we'll begin with our straight line, and you know straight line means 180 degrees, correct? Now that always helps to start off the construction when you're doing with compass. So let's mark this point as O somewhere in the center of the segment. And now using our compass, we are going to create 45 degrees. Now how do I make 45 degrees? To make 45 degrees, the strategy is going to be, we'll take 180 degrees, divide it into two equal parts to get 90 degrees, right? And then again we'll divide this by two equal parts to get 45 degrees. Does it make sense to you? So we'll do bisecting of angle twice to get 45 degrees. Perfect. So let's begin by bisecting 180 degrees. So for that we need to just place our compass with center at O given here, and we'll make a semicircle, right? We make a semicircle. The idea here is to cut equally 2 points away from O. So we get these 2 points, right? So let's use these points to now bisect. So to bisect, place your compass on the first point, any one of them, and then make an arc, a bigger arc this time. And from the other point, same arc length, you just cut that arc. It will give you 90 degrees, exactly half of 180, right? So that is what it is. Now we'll use our protractor to draw lines and to verify. So, and to verify, and that gives you perfectly 90 degrees, right? Okay, there's a minor shift, but that is what it is, right? Sometimes when you draw lines, there could be error of a degree or so, but if you do it very carefully, you'll exactly get what is needed. Okay, now the idea is to divide this again. So we have done the first step We got a 90 degrees. Now we have to go for 45. So we'll again divide it into two equal parts. So we can place it on the 2 points where this arc had already cut the lines. These are the 2 points, right? So we'll use those 2 points. Okay, so we got another bisection of angle, and then we'll draw this line. Okay, so when you connect this, you should get what? 45 degrees, right? So this angle here is 45 degrees for you. Is that clear? Let us check our result. So we have this angle here. Placing it, it is more or less 45 degrees. Perfect. That is the best you can get. Very good. Now we need to somehow get length for 30 degrees. How do we do 30 degrees? Well, to get 30 degrees, we'll again start with 180 degrees, divide it into 3 equal parts, get 60 degrees, and then divide it further into 2 equal parts to get 30 degrees. That is how we are going to do it. Okay, so let's see. So we'll again make an arc. Okay, we'll use a different color this time. Let's make a bigger arc. Okay, that's fine. So a semicircle. And with the same arc length, you have to cut this into 3 equal parts. So that means 60, next 60, which combines to make 120. And this will also perfectly fit, and there you go, right? So 180. So each here is actually speaking 60 degrees, right? So if I join this, let me join it on the left side now, because we'll try to create on the right side our final result. Now I'm trying to make a 30 degrees angle here. Now this is 60 degrees angle from this side. Is that clear to you, right? So from this side, 60 degrees angle. I need to bisect this 60 degrees. So we have done the first step, that is dividing into 3 equal parts to get 60. Now let's do the second step of dividing this 60 into 30, right? So we'll actually take these 2 points and bisect. To bisect, we have to always, use 2 points which are same distance away. Right. So from these 2 points, same distance away, we crossed the point, right? So that should give us 30 degrees. Okay. So let me extend from O and join the point. Okay. So this, what we got just now, is exactly 30 degrees. So we are interested in copying 30 degrees now, which is this angle. Right? So that becomes half of 60. So this is 30, that is also 30. Correct? Makes sense? Okay. Now the idea is to copy this 30 degrees on to 45. So we have to somehow copy 30 degrees on this line of 45. How do we do that? Well, we have a method of doing it. We know that this arc length on the light green color, this arc length represents 30 degrees. Is that clear? This is 30 degrees. So from this line, which was for 45 degrees, I'll make a cut here. So this is 30 degrees for me from 45. And if that is 30 degrees for me, in that case, if I join with O, that point, I should get 75 degrees, right? So this angle here should actually give me 75 degrees. Let's verify, because we added 30 on top of 45. So if I place my protractor again to verify, what do I see? So what I see is that I get nearly 70 and 80. In between 70 and 80, this line is going. So more or less, it is 75 degrees. Well, there could be some errors in just copying it, but I hope you understand the whole process. So finally, we get this angle, which is 75 degrees. And how did we get it? We actually copied 30 degrees from a separate place over the 45 degrees to get 75 degrees. Does it make sense to you? So you once again learn how to bisect the angles, copy the angles, and create what you want. Hope that helps. Feel free to go through this exercise, do some practice questions, and now we'll also take up construction of triangles with given angles. Extended this to include an application where we can actually draw triangles with given angles. So here is a question for you. You need to draw a triangle ABC with length AB equals to 4 centimeters, angle ABC equals to 60 degrees, and angle BAC equals to 90 degrees. So we are looking for a right angle triangle, correct? So basically you have to draw a triangle which may look like this. AB is, and at angle A, AB, something like this, right? Where the length AB is 4 centimeters. We could keep this at the bottom, right? 4 centimeters. And the angle of 90 degrees is at A. So this is A for us. And the angle at B is 60 degrees. So the other side could be kind of, that doesn't look like, right? So anyway, but this angle should be 60 degrees. So that is what you are expected to draw. So I hope it is clear. It is definitely not to the scale. I like you to draw it, but without using a protector. You have to use compass to draw the angles, right? So use the strategies which we have already seen and take this as an exercise to practice. Now here is what I would like to do. So I'll definitely use my protector, but only to draw straight lines and to verify the results. Okay, so here is my protector. We'll begin with 180 degrees as we have done all throughout. Now we need 4 centimeters between A and B. So let's mark 4 centimeters, and almost at the center we'll keep this and then draw, right? So let us say 0 to 4 is what we're looking for. So let's say this is our 0 and that is our 4. So we join this 0 and 4. This compass is not very good, but anyway, we just got a line, right? So that makes point A, and this is point B for us, and the distance between them we just measured was 4 centimeters. Now we need to draw angle of 90 degrees at A. How do you get 90 degrees? 90 degrees really means 180 degrees divided by 2 is 90 degrees, right? So we have to bisect this angle. So we need to bisect. Right. So let's bisect. To bisect, we'll actually make an arc here, semicircle you can say, kind of, right? So we'll make a semicircle, and then we're going to increase the length of our compass and make 2 arcs. Let's make slightly bigger, like this, okay? And the one from the other side. Okay, so there you go. Wherever they intersect, that actually bisects the angle. So 180 has been bisected. So if I extend if I join the point from A to the point which we have, and we'll do it with a dotted line, since we don't know exactly where the other side will cut it. So that actually gives us 90 degrees. Perfect. We can actually verify with our protector. So clearly this is 90 degrees, right? So that's how we verify. Now at B we have to construct an angle of 60 degrees. So for 60 degrees, what should we do? For 60 degrees, we'll divide 180 degrees into 3 equal parts to get 60 degrees, correct? So 180 degrees into 3 equal parts. And that is why this straight line helps. So beginning with a straight line big enough to help us construct is a good practice. So there you go, right? So 60 degrees is 1/3. So we'll actually divide this into 3 equal parts, right? This is the first one, and the second and the third one, right? As you have seen earlier in our drawings, that is exactly 60 degrees. So now we can actually connect the point B with the point we already have. Okay, so that is slightly shorter than what we expected. Okay, let's increase this. Fine. So now we are going to connect from B the point and then extend it to the earlier line, the dotted line, to get a triangle, right? So if I connect this, I get one side of the triangle, the hypotenuse. Perfect. And let me connect from A to this point with a solid line now. That's the triangle which we have. Perfect. So this time we do have a 60 degrees here. What should be this angle? Can you tell me? Well, that angle should be 180 degrees minus 90 degrees and minus 60 degrees. And that is definitely 30 degrees, correct? So this angle you will get as 30 degrees. Perfect. One side is 4 centimeters. What should be the length of this side? Can you guess? So, as you see from this particular diagram, that side could be twice 4. Let's verify. So that is how you actually draw a triangle with the given dimensions. And if you do all these calculations, you will also find that the hypotenuse is almost twice base A to B, right? That is interesting to watch. That is because if I draw it on this side, I'll get an equilateral triangle. So all sides should be equal, right? So with that concept, if I have this as 4, that will be 8 centimeters, and that will also verify your results. I hope. Now here is an application. We'll now try to draw a triangle ABC with length AB equals to 4 centimeters, angle ABC as 120 degrees, and angle BAC as 30 degrees. And we are not going to use protractor for making the angles, but we'll use our compass to make the angles. Perfect. You can also pause the video, copy this question, do it yourself, and then look into my suggestions. So we'll actually begin with a straight line, okay, and then over that line we'll do the whole construction. Let's say that is the line on which we are working. First part is to get hold of AB, which is 4 centimeters. So on this line I can mark 4 centimeters. We are also given angle ABC as 120 degrees. If I decide this to be A and that to be B, 120 degrees ABC will be going this side. So I will use more on the left hand side for our line, correct? So we'll make so that we can use this space better, right? So we are marking from 0 to 4, this point, right? So that gives us A to B, right? So what we have got here is our line segment 4 centimeter long. So this is A and that is B, and the length between them is 4 centimeters, correct? So we have done the first part of making the base of the triangle ABC as AB of length 4. Now we need to construct an angle of 120 degrees at B. How do we do that? Well, 120 degrees is basically equal to 60 degrees plus 60 degrees, correct? So that means if I could make 260 degrees, I get 180 degrees, 120 degrees, correct? This straight line is how much? Straight line is 180 degrees, right? If I divide it into 3 equal parts, I get 60 each. So the idea is I'll form a semicircle here and divide this semicircle into 3 equal parts. Each part will be 60 each, right? So if I do this, one part and then the second part, and this of course is the third part, right? So you'll see that they match, right? They match, correct? So that means our drawing is quite accurate, correct? So each is 60, each is 60 plus 60. So if I take 2 60s, then I get 120 degrees, right? So from here, I will join point B with the second mark, which is 60 plus 60, right? That gives me 120 degrees. So I'll just make a dotted line here. Since we don't know how long our line is going to be, right? we'll actually look for a point of intersection from A, which makes an angle of 30 degrees. Is it okay? So that is, from this side, we have got 120 degrees. Perfect. Okay. Now, so this is 60, right? So this is 60 degrees on this side. When you add them up, it is going to be 30 degrees or 180 degrees. So when you add 120 to 60, you get 180 degrees. So we have done the first part. So we got an angle of 120 degrees. Now at A, I need 30 degrees. How do I do that? Well, one method is I could bisect this, so I get 30, and copy that angle. I could do that, right? So I could bisect and copy that angle. That is one thing which I could do, right? Okay, so, or I could again create a 60 degrees and then bisect it. So either way, we could work. So what do you prefer? Well, also learn how to bisect and then copy it. So we'll go with this approach. So we'll actually now bisect 60 to get our 30 degrees. Okay. So from here, we are going to bisect. So now we are trying to do, we are going to bisect 60 degrees to get 30 degrees, correct? That is what we're trying to do. And then we'll copy that angle. So we learned a lot of strategies using this particular example. That's the whole part to learn, right? So let's bisect 60 degrees, which is same arc from this. We nearly got a point. We'll use that. So we get a line here, and this line, when joined with B, will give us 30 degrees, right? So okay, so that's what it is. Let's see this one. So what we notice here is this portion is 30 degrees, right? So if I copy this 30 degrees on A, then we could complete the triangle, right? So what next step we'll do is to copy 30 degrees, right? So let's see how to copy 30 degrees, and that's the next step, right? So to copy, what should we do? Well, what we are going to do here is to make some arcs. So we'll make an arc using some length. Let's say this. We'll make this, let's say we make this arc, right? From B, we're making a similar arc from A, right? Kind of, okay, like this. Now, on this arc, we have to see how much distance do I have to go. So from here, we just copy the length, right? That becomes the length, right? So that much mark I'll make from here, okay? So I know this mark. I can join this with point A, right? So if I do that, I get 30 degrees from straight line to A to what I'm going to draw, right? So this terminal arm will give me, and I'm going to stop at my original dotted line to get the point C. Does it make sense to you? Now what I did was I copied this angle. So this is also 30 degrees. Both angles have been copied. So they should be 30 degrees. Perfect. So we get our point C, and now we can actually join the 3 points, right? So B to C, instead of making dotted, I made it solid now. So we get our triangle. So that is the triangle ABC, in which the angle at A is 30 degrees, the angle at B is 120 degrees, the length AB is 4 centimeters. Perfect. Now you could verify the result. So if I use my protractor to verify, which we have been doing in this playlist, you see exactly this angle is 30 degrees, correct? That's how you do it, right? And the other angle is 120 degrees. So if I place it here, you look at the outside, right? So we are going from this side. So 0 is here. You go like this, 120 degrees. Perfect. So that is how you could actually construct a triangle with given angles using protractor. So I hope in this series you have learned different techniques to draw angles, to bisect angles, to copy them, and now how to create triangles with given dimensions. I hope you like it. Feel free to share my videos with your friends, and if you like and subscribe to them, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.